if the risk-free rate is 3.15% and the market risk premium is 9.5%, compute the expected return of the following stocks. So risk-free rate means that how to compute risk-free rate. If later you want to compute, is just the average of the short-term T-bills, means debt instruments issued by the government, the average of the return, and it's considered as risk-free because it's backed by the government and they're very short-term, so we consider them as the risk-free rate, although it's not really risk-free, it's not 100% risk-free, but we consider it as the safest investment in the market. So the rate of treasury bills, the short-term treasury bills rates is called risk-free rate. So the risk-free rate here is given 3.15%, and the market risk premium also is given. So how to compute the stock expected return on the stocks based on their beta? Beta is a measure of systematic risk of the stock. So beta actually compares the risk of the stock with the whole market, right? So the formula is the capital asset pricing model formula, and expected return is risk-free rate plus beta multiplied by market return minus risk-free rate. And this is RF. RF is risk-free rate, beta is the systematic risk measure, and RM is market return, and RF is risk-free rate again. But this RM minus RF also is called market risk premium. So when you have market risk premium, no need to deduct RF from these 9.5. But if in the question you are given market return, then you need to deduct RF. But here you don't have market return. Instead, you have market risk premium. So the whole term means market risk premium, and you have the amount of this whole term. So expected return for ABC, is risk-free rate is 3.15% plus beta 4.03 multiplied by 9.5%. And if you do the calculation, it's 41.43%. And the expected return for the second stock, KO, is again risk-free rate 3.15 plus 0.83 is the beta of the stock multiplied by 9.5%, and if you do the calculation is 11.13%. Then the last one, expected return of KEI stock, is risk-free rate again 3.15 plus 0.59 multiplied by 9.5%, and it's 8.75%. So based on the market return and beta, we are computing the expected return on the stock. So what does it mean? The formula means the capital assets pricing model. So it's called capital assets pricing model. Means that the expected return of the stock, if you want to compute the expected return of the stock, and it should be, it means that when you buy stock, you should be compensated for taking systematic risk. Means you will be paid risk-free rate plus the amount of systematic risk that you are taking. This means that for the expected return, you won't be compensated for taking unsystematic risk. So unsystematic risk is not necessary, right? So you won't be rewarded for taking unnecessary risk. So in the market, you will be paid, you will be rewarded only for taking the systematic risk. And this means that you need to diversify your portfolio. So for unsystematic risk, you won't be rewarded, right? So you should diversify your portfolio because you will be rewarded only for taking systematic risk. Okay. So we are already, this is in another video about the capital assets pricing model. But anyway, so risk-free rate is the minimum return on any investment, because when you don't want to take any risk, it's risk-free, you will be rewarded risk-free rate, means 3.15%. So when you take more risk by buying, for example, stocks, of course, they have more risk compared with the risk-free rate, which means that by the risk for taking this stock is more than the risk that you invest on T-bills issued by the government. So you should be rewarded more. So how much more? This is the component that shows how much more you should be rewarded. So this is the minimum risk in the market, minimum return in the market, and this is the component for taking more risk than T-bills rate. And how much? Based on the amount of systematic risk that you are taking. So more systematic risk, more return you expect, right? And here you can see, because there is a positive relationship between these two, so more beta means more expected return.